Imagine someone or something attacks an entire planet of people who look like you and me. In the course of the 4 sessions, we find out that we are on a different planet. With a single blinding flash of light, everyone dies and is pulled up under a spaceship. It was their last life out there in freedom. What her life was like before that moment and what exactly happened during the event and what happened afterward until Utah finally arrived at the end of a long, unpleasant and violent assembly line processing process in her first incarnation here on Earth. We explored together in a total of 4 sessions of Beyond Quantum Healing from September to November 2024. It also started quite unexpectedly. In Uta's first session, we initially only came across an event in which her entire planet was invaded. All of a sudden, everyone died in a flash of light event. In a Beyond Quantum Healing session, I act as a neutral guide, leading Uta in a kind of half-trance through her own subconscious. The questions alone determine how a built-in GPS in each client makes the memories accessible. At the time, I still called the GPS higher self. This is a research project I called Glasdrops. The pictures are mandala stones from Utah. And this video is only about the first session. Have you ever asked yourself the specific question of what happened to you immediately before your first incarnation here on Earth? What your last life was out there, and what exactly happened to you in the time in between? There is a lot of speculation about this, and I myself will talk about it in another video, about how I am now evaluating everything that has come my way in the last year, literally. I can only say this much. Since the first session with Uta, my idea of reality has been almost turned upside down. I had to be careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, figuratively speaking. But that is not what this video is about. Here we stick closely to what Uta found out about herself, her last life before coming to Earth, her first life on Earth, and the time in between. So it's a purely factual session report. The beautiful mandala stones were painted by Uta herself and are more entertaining than the scenes on the table with a person in trance. In between, Uta's handwriting and illustrative drawings are inserted because she also followed this thread in her meditations. The audio recording of the BQH session is a wonderful support for revisiting certain parts of the session and going deeper. In this respect, Uta played a very active part in this project, and I thank her very much for it. And thank you, Uta, for consenting to the anonymized publication, for consenting to the anonymized, for consenting to the anonymized, for consenting to the publication. It all started quite unexpectedly. In Uta's first session, we first encountered an event in which her entire planet was attacked, or maybe only the part you could see. All the people in the planet met their death in a single instant through a flash of light event. In the Beyond Quantum Healing session, I act as a neutral guide and lead Uta in a kind of half-trance through her own subconscious. The questions alone determine how a built-in GPS in the respective client makes the memories accessible. At the time, I still called the GPS higher self. One of the purposes of this first session was to find out how Uta could establish better contact with her higher self, because Uta still thought in terms of this spiritual concept of higher self. This purpose and her questions led us quite unexpectedly into this situation. I should add that for years Uta had seen a dragon in her meditations, which had sparked her interest in my YouTube channel in the first place. The questions. Uta formulated her question in August 2024 as follows. Who am I really? What am I doing here? How can I connect with my dragon again? I feel powers within me, but I can't get to them, like under ice. There are no perceptible connections to other levels. First, she experiences herself as a blue humanoid with 6 fingers and a thumb on each hand. I will not go into this further here, only so much she meets her dragon and flies with him to a place not on Earth. We explore this life and then another one with dolphins. In the third life, Uta is finally under a roof in a healing temple on a couch, her eyes closed. She cannot open her eyes. She has been worked on. She is ready to feel. She feels pressure on her heart to open something. The pressure disappears through the treatment. Now she recognizes. She recognizes that she is trapped in a whirlpool, and in this whirlpool, she is in a drop of glass-like substance with a plug. Since the plug cannot be removed, I tried, although she senses that work is being done on her, I suggest a new direction. How did the plug come about? With the cloud, I guide her to the appropriate place and the appropriate time to find out what happened there. She is accompanied by someone from the healing temple, but she remains locked in a drop of glass or water, and the treatment could not change that. She is accompanied by energies that somehow belong to her and protect her, she says. Can she free herself now? I ask. No. We go back to the time when this happened to her. When and how did she get into the Glasdrop? Uta perceives chaos around her, people fleeing, lots of screaming. Everyone is scattered. There was a blinding light. She doesn't run away. She is already floating higher, apparently immediately. She is no longer in her physical body. She floats above it and is pulled higher and higher. A lot of people are pulled up with her as if she were hanging on a thread that is being rolled up. They are all being squeezed together. She is being smothered. It is terrible, this squeezing together. She is pushed against a wall and slides down it, powerless, and falls into a glass drop that is closed with a stopper. Next to her, a lot of people slide down the wall, and each one is pressed into one of those things. There are a lot of them, and they are all being squeezed together at the same time. They are being pressed against a wall, down with the slide, powerless. And they are all being squeezed together at the same time. They are being pressed against a wall, down which they slide, powerless. They are being smothered, squeezed together. It's awful. Many people are being pulled up and pressed against the wall, powerless to slide down it, each into one of the glass drops, which are then closed. Each person is being squeezed and pressed into one of these glass drops. She sees many of these glass drops. What was life like before the flash and the drop experience? The world was still all right for Uta then. They were people with light beige skin. She sees light beige buildings, fountains, and gardens. She is a middle-aged woman with long light hair, beautiful coiffed with pearls. It is a peaceful life. They talk to each other a lot. Her work has to do with singing and tones. She works with healing tones. It is not a job. It is simply what she can do and does. My impression is that feelings are there, but even when remembering, Uta finds it difficult to access them. Many people come to her for healing. There is a beautiful, large, round, bright room. People lie relaxed on the floor or on couches. She stands in the middle or walks around and tunes. The sound is made to vibrate by various glass bodies, singing bowls and string instruments in her, and then she tunes the healing sound that is needed at the moment. The sounding goes through and through. She does what is needed. The result is relaxation and the improvement of eyesight, digestion, hearing, or walking. I ask her if it is also her job to connect people to their higher selves, because that was the question that had led us there, at least the current trail we were following. It is not her job, she says. And besides, it is not the problem. It is normal for all people to be connected. She herself is simply connected. If you fall out of your center, you go to the appropriate healer who will reconnect you. There are certainly healers who can also help when you fall out of connection, but she knows nothing about that. It seems not to be known as a problem. She lives in a community. I ask if she has any other duties there, or if she has a family. I ask her to look at the situation with her dinner. She sees herself with her family, partner, and 2 children, and there is a cheerful atmosphere at the table. The fact that she suddenly speaks of cheerful is new. So far, the terms monotonous and descriptive were used. So I suspect that she was capable of a wide range of feelings and thoughts before the event. She describes the people at dinner. The partner has long brown hair and is interested in colors, just as she is in tones. Their children have different talents. One also plays musical instruments, the other is good with their hands. But I ask her about their larger community. They decide everything together, she says. A leader is elected to contact other communities. A community consists of about 300 people, she remembers. They also have regular contact with aliens. They visit each other regularly. There are places where they can meet, but it also works telepathically over the distance. Telepathy is something very natural. These meetings feel familiar. She mentions a Stargate. She sees them as siblings, and they arrange to meet telepathically, meet in a familiar way, and do things together. There's also such rivalries on Earth, she says, and the topics they discuss are about the Earth. In a later session, she says it was not the Earth, but a giant water planet. She knows about water, forests, joint ventures, trade. They all live a carefree, long life. She should get in touch with someone who is familiar with the connection to the higher self, I suggest. Her name is Marina, or at least that's the word that comes to her mind. I think of a harbor when I hear Marina, but for Uta it's just a name or a word whose meaning she doesn't know. She sees herself in a healing temple. Her dragon La Luna is not lying on the roof of the temple, as he usually does. She wonders what Marina means. Something to do with pouring comes to her mind. The dragon cannot be seen now, it remains hidden. The session has been going for a long time. I'll end it at this point. I'm Juliane Becker from the Drachen Alarm channel, Dragon Alert. Find out more at drachencoaching.de. Thank you for listening.